Hey.
Beautiful. Yay. Perfect. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here at Ice House Radio. As always, it is so great to see so many music lovers out in the crowd, out at home. Thank you so much for joining us. If you don't know where you are at a discussion about Chicago's electronic music scene presented by Break and Enter and Ice House Radio. Our goal for tonight's discussion is to further explore Chicago's music scene and its subcultures with one of the city's breakout performers, Nanoos. My name is Zio. You might know me as HYPERFEMME, and I am a former culture writer, DJ, and curator based here in Houston, Texas. And I'd like to introduce our special guest for tonight, Nanoos, an electronic music producer, DJ, and cultural curator from Detroit, now based in Chicago. Let's give her a warm welcome with a round of applause.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we are so excited to learn more about you and your thoughts about the Midwest music scene, Chicago, Detroit, and all of your different influences. I'd love to start by learning about you first.
Yes.
And learning about, what it was like for you to grow up in Detroit.
Yes.
And the type of music you were listening to at that time.
Yeah, so growing up in Detroit, I had two immigrant parents, and Arabic was actually my first language, so Arabic music was obviously the first type of music that I was listening to growing up, and I grew up around a lot of boys, mostly all my cousins were always boys, so a lot of heavy hip hop and R&B influence. They were showing me all the really cool music that also came out of Detroit, production wise and stuff like that. And then when I got to junior high is when I started learning more about techno, ghetto house, all of the house influences that are in Detroit. And yeah, all of these things has come to inspire me, especially moving to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you say your parents had any big major impact on the kind of music you listened to? Were you listening to dad's records growing up, or
Yes.
Your mom would play in the kitchen?
Oh yes, my mom has a lot of CDs, a lot of USBs with a lot of Arabic music on it, and every car ride was always Arabic music, either for my mom or my dad. And when I mean Arabic music, our type of music expands everywhere around the Middle Eastern, North African region, so things can be Arabic music but sound very different from region to region.
Yeah.
So just, exposed to a lot at a young age, for sure.
I love that. How much impact did the internet have on you, especially I'm assuming you grew up in the age of the internet. Were you really early on to Napster and searching for stuff online and things like that?
Definitely, I remember when Twitter first became a thing, and I was definitely using on Twitter a lot. I was also a big YouTube girl.
Yes.
So I was big on YouTube and watching people do their little vlogs and go to different music festivals and vlogging their experience. That's also a way that I was able to discover a lot of music, was that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your earliest memory of hearing a techno or electro song and thinking this is so different from everything I've heard before or ever known, this is so hot?
I think it was in high school when I snuck out of home one time to go to a party. And it was one of my first times hearing people playing and mixing techno. I don't even know where I was. Somewhere I was not supposed to be at my age. Sorry, at my age. But it was my first real exposure to it. And then from that point on was when everything else kind of just hit me. And I was discovering a lot of different Midwest club culture and music and learning all about it. It was super cool.
Yeah. Did you frequent parties a lot at that age? Was that part of the experience for you? No.
No, because my parents wouldn't let me.
Yeah, no.
It was maybe one time in high school that I snuck out. I got in a lot of trouble. So
no. Real. I had Nigerian African parents. It's the same thing. They're not letting you out the house. It's all internet. Just you in your room, up and all internet.
In my own world with my own friends. And yeah, like I said, YouTube girl, so a lot of it was coming from YouTube, what I was learning and seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally makes sense. I feel especially for kids in our generation, so much of that is so personal from an early age. It's really about whatever stacks you're getting into deep in the recesses of YouTube.
Yeah.
So I understand you have a couple tracks you'd like to share with us that have really impacted you during that part of your life. Maybe stuff you were finding on YouTube.
Yeah.
You want to cycle through 3 tracks and we can work through them?
Yeah, actually, I really wanted to show a track that I discovered while I was like in the beginning, earlier stages of DJing that actually influenced a lot of my work. It is an Arab artist called Layla Fada, and she was one of the first Arab artists that I heard that mixed Arab music with Jersey club. So
لا النهارده الفنانة الشابة ليلى فضة أولى تجاربها التمثيلية بمسلسل برنس. ليلى فضة ازيك؟ ليلى فضة؟ ليلى فضة ليلى فضة ليلى فضة
نفسي اقص شعري بس الاطول احلى كتير. عايزة اصحى الصبح ما اروحش الشغل اروح باريس. طويلة وبلبس كعب مع انه مش مريح. كل دي حاجة تشغلاني اكتر منه بكتير اكتر منه بكتير اكتر منه.
just a super dark like Jersey beat with Arab vocals.
Yeah.
Over top of it. That was one of like the songs that like really inspired me early on in my career, which it's only been like 2.5, 3 years, but
that.
still
Yeah.
like pretty early in my career. Inspired me to do stuff similar. Yeah.
Was that like really your first time like learning or getting into Jersey club and really hearing it mixed with this music you were so familiar with?
It wasn't the first time I had discovered Jersey club, but it was one of the first times that I heard like Arab vocals, like Arabic vocals being mixed on top of it. I was like, whoa, like we can do it too. Like we can mix our influence with like influence that comes from like a Black American culture, and it sounds fucking great. I love it.
No, literally.
Yeah.
Like just seeing that experimentation happen in
Yes.
real time, and just like knowing there's something so familiar in it for you, and hearing it like remixed in a different way.
Yes,
I love that.
exactly.
Was that like a really big inspiration for you, like early on when you started like DJing and getting into music, like finding ways to like further that experimentation and push those sounds from being familiar with?
I think definitely like in the early stages, like I was always like a club rat. I would always like go out to parties by myself when even no one else would want to.
Yeah.
Like global parties, and I went to a bunch. There's a lot of amazing global parties in Chicago, but a couple years ago there wasn't like many that would mix like Arab influences. I didn't hear a lot of Arabic music, and I always thought like, I wonder like if I mixed this with this and I played this in a club, what would happen? And that's kind of how I started. And then hearing things like this really even elevated me even further to keep going and get into production and keep trying, because like this song is like really popular in the Arab world. So I was like we can do it. Like it just really inspired me.
I love that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when you're mixing these songs that are so familiar in like different like Arab regions, is it a lot of like old school songs, stuff that you've grown up with, stuff your mom might play? Like, do you find that a lot of the times those samples and interpolations come from like music that in a sense has kind of been like maybe lost to time, or in a different way, like not easily represented even among like younger crowds?
Yeah, so at first, like a few years ago, a lot of what I was playing and listening to and wanting to put out was those older classic Arab songs that everybody knew, and those were just like timeless. Like they're just timeless records that I'll never forget like listening to as a kid. And then the more I got into DJing, the more I was discovering more contemporary Arab artists, people who were really like changing the game and doing things different than not just like the classic Arab pop songs, whatever. They were really accelerating what Arab music sounds like in the electronic dance scene. And so I'm just getting all this information all at once and trying to put out as much as I can in like the most tasteful way possible. It's just so fun.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
How about we do another track? I think you got something loaded up here?
Yeah, I actually have something unreleased from me and a friend.
Love that. You guys are getting a treat.
Starts off slow. tracks. We'll be hearing that whole track tonight. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about that track. How did you come about producing it? And what is that song I'm hearing interpolated there?
So it's a sample of this old Egyptian track, and it was just like mixed. It was actually me and Aku, this DJ and producer from LA. He was like really inspired to make like an Arab influenced juke pack, and he had a lot of crazy influences in it, but the sample is like an old Egyptian song. And then later on in the song, he's just like playing with the keys and like making it sound crazy. I'm really excited for everybody to hear it later.
I love it.
On top of a very Chicago style drum kick.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm curious, how long have you been producing?
Producing for 2 years. I will definitely say I'm not like one of those DJs who is like madly in love with producing. I think that producing is something that is so hard and intricate and needs a lot of love
and attention and time.
A lot of love and time, and I've just been on this high with DJing that I haven't been able to give production the time and energy that it really deserves to sit and learn the craft.
Very
so but I do have a couple songs out, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still doing my thing.
We love that. We love people who try.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely understand. I agree with you 1,000%. I have been DJing for a very long time, and even now I'm like asked, like when are you gonna start producing? And I'm like, do you even know how much like goes into like learning guitar? And it's like, I feel like for me, when it obviously will happen, it's gonna be definitely from a place of love and like wanting to get in there and just really like thug something out. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's just an abundance of there's so much good music these days. It's like the scene's not missing out on my like 2 or 3 tracks. And I wanna make really good ones, so I definitely understand.
And there's a lot of pressure. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine.
There's a lot of pressure I feel like too, especially like for me with like influencing like all the Arab tracks with the Chicago and the Midwest style. I feel an immense amount of pressure to continue to put out records that are like that. And all that pressure, like it doesn't really help me. I feel like I want to be able to get into production in a better way when it's not pressure and it's just coming from me in the heart and when I have time.
Absolutely. I feel like definitely wanting to, I can already tell you're like going to be so intentional with your music when you are able to make it in a way that feels real and like authentic and easy for you.
Thanks.
And honestly, I mean, the work we're getting now, beautiful. People like truly love it, and I wonder what it's like for you to play so much of this music in this new way out to like crowds that are unfamiliar and see their reactions and how they take it in.
Oh, it's crazy. Like people will be like, "What genre is this? Like, what is this? Like, what did you just play? Like, where was I? I was in Mexico City and I was playing like a lot of like ghetto house mixed with like the Arab stuff." And people just kept coming up like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you what it is actually." And it's great. And then this is like random, but like I feel like commercials nowadays too, they're kind of like playing into like the electronic dance music stuff, and they're adding it to their commercials. And T-Mobile had this one commercial where it sounded like one of my tracks. It was like a little Arab mixed with a little and somebody was like, "Is that your song?" I was like, "No, but it sounds kind of close."
I mean,
so where's my placement?
Period.
Because
definitely on the mood board. We know how they do, like, you know what I mean? It's definitely, I'm sure it's been so insane for you to see just like difference from even from when you started like mixing and experimenting with these sounds, and now hearing them in like places you would have heard like wouldn't have heard them before. It's obviously like a sign that so much is changing. And what do you think is contributing to people wanting to learn more about not just like the Chicago juke and ghetto house, but stuff that obviously those familiar sounds from your childhood from like West Asia, North Africa? What do you think is really pushing people to start embrace and really open up to hearing that on the dance floor in the club?
So I really actually think that what happens on the dance floor is obviously a reflection of what's happening culturally.
For sure.
And I feel like for my particular instance, like being Palestinian and, seeing a lot of the things that we've been going through, like as a collective for 3 years, I think people waking up and learning about us as people in general, I feel like that is helping people being more open to listening to our music on the dance floor, and then vice versa. People hearing our music in clubs and being like, whose people's music is this? And, explaining like who I am, where I come from. And I think people are more open to learning about our struggle and connecting the dots between all of our struggles.
Absolutely.
And so it's just like a constant like mirror and like reflection of what's happening in the world.
That's so fascinating. I think it's beautiful to think about the fact that the music lends a certain visibility not only to the people in these regions, but their struggles and that they're facing currently. You know what I mean? I think I'd love to walk through this sort of subject a little bit more, because I definitely want to hear about your experience as a Palestinian Armenian artist and taking this music as far and as wide as you possibly can, and still in a way not being able to see the same for other artists in those regions who are obviously making and pioneering and experimenting with this music in the same way.
Yeah.
What sort of ways would you like to see those artists have visibility in the next couple years?
I would like festivals to be more diverse, and not even just like festivals where it's DJs, but like even just like artistry, like singing or like rapping. Like this Layla Fada actually she's a rapper, and she's amazing. It's the way she just hopped on a Jersey beat. But I'd love to see like Arab artists like being included in more Western spaces, and it has its like it's good and it's bad,
Absolutely.
of course, but I just would love to see us being represented more in these spaces, honestly. And for us not to sell out either, like to stay true to who we are and where we come from, and not just doing it for the bag, but to be loud and proud about who we are, where we're from. And if being loud and proud doesn't get us the bag, then who cares? Because that's happened to me a few times now, and it's like now that I'm getting a little bit more popping on the internet, it's actually happening more frequent, where people will say things like, oh, like she doesn't pass the safety check, and I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? I'm so curious.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Do you find that you run into that a lot, where it's like there's a certain big responsibility in the way that you use your platform, especially when talking about when sharing this music with people who are not familiar with it, but also talking about those struggles? Like, is that super important for you in your work?
Yeah, I am very like outspoken about like everything that I believe in, and I push my music to help with that.
Yeah.
And I always have to be careful about who's booking me, what's booking me, like what's the political climate like around this thing, like what are other people saying, because I wouldn't be where I am without the people who listen to me. So I owe it to them if they're telling me like, oh, this venue did this, or boiler room that, or that. Like it means a lot for me to step in and do what I can, and I don't want to be a sellout. Like I just don't want to do that.
Very real.
And I'm not going to. So
very, very real. There's definitely something to be said about considering the audience and the community that has worked so hard to bring you so far.
Yeah.
I think there's just a certain betrayal that happens to yourself when you betray that community, and it's so easy to fall into, especially thinking about like your earlier point about being outspoken and having to understand the risks that come with that, being less visible, losing out on opportunities, but also being even like marginalized in a different way. You know what I mean? There's always this insistence that in dance music, electronic music, there's not a place for politics, and there's not a place to be outspoken about obviously the issues that affect communities that are making this music that you love. There's always this idea, well, then I don't want to hear about what they're facing, what this artist is going through. I just want their music. What do you want people to understand the most about being a Palestinian Armenian artist in this climate? What are things that certain people do not consider that you have to do or work around in order to do the work that you do?
Well, being a woman, period, in this industry is hard. And, being a Palestinian Armenian woman, like, it's just, I want people to understand that, like, I'm not saying I put my life on the line. It's not a life thing, but I am putting a lot on the line in order to make sure that I am outspoken and I do represent folks as best as I can. And what I want people to know about artists in general, even it don't matter how many followers somebody has on Instagram, stuff like that, like it's really hard to be an artist nowadays in terms of like making money, and then the fine line between like I have to commodify myself and my art because I'm living in capitalism, but also I don't want to commodify myself too much because I don't want to sell out. I want to remain authentic, remain me. So what's that line? And I'm not perfect. I don't always know that line.
Yeah.
So if things don't look right to other folks online or things, let's talk about it. Like let's have discussions. Like I'm still accessible. I'm still a human. Like I'm not like so big that we can't like have discussions about these things, and I'm nowhere near perfect. So
Absolutely.
that was a bunch of yap. I hope
No,
I
no,
answered
no.
the question.
It absolutely did. And like again, I want to say your intentions there come out so clearly. Like these are the things, you know, especially operating in the scene, moving out throughout this, you know, the different scenes, but also the industry that supports them, surrounds them. It's something you do have to think so deeply about.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's so easy to sort of get lost. The bigger I mean, with any DJ, I think with any artist, speaking for myself just personally as a DJ, I think there's always like certain milestones that other DJs expect you or want you to hit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, in order to signify that you're bigger. And it's like sometimes, like me being a Black queer person, like those milestones are not the same. You know what I mean? If it means compromising who I am, and of course, like the communities that have gotten me to where I am, it's like definitely something. I think a lot of times, if you're not part of these communities, you're not necessarily thinking about all the different ways that you have to like navigate in order to get by, but still not like lose yourself.
Yeah.
So I appreciate hearing that from like another artist, obviously, who is just thinking about this stuff as well. So
or like being signed or having management or stuff like that. I don't want to get to a point where like I'm signed and now I can't do the regular dive bar gig that I love doing once a month to be with people intimately in an intimate setting. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or like be with management where everything is like just particular for their way and not my way. Or like even sponsorships. People ask me like, people ask me about liquor sponsorships all the time, and like I don't drink. Why would I do that?
Why would
like,
you do that?
why would I do that? I want to remain my authentic self. So people throw money at me, and I'm always like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
That's so real. I think the longer you do it, the more you will obviously find the people, organizations, experiences that you want to have.
You're right, yeah.
But it's so interesting, again, to like think about this stuff. And it's like, I know for a lot of folks, outside looking in, DJing can be like glamorous in that way. It's like, okay, there's always a potential to make money, and there's always an opportunity to like put your face on something in front of something.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you care about this work, you want to do it longer in a way that sustains you and you're not burnt out or like selling out for 5 years, you really do have to think about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm here for the long run.
No, seriously. And I see it. I mean, obviously, you know, in the past 2, 3 years, I'm sure so much about, you know, your world, your craft has changed. What has been like the biggest sort of like transformational experience for you since you've started doing this work? Something that I feel like, you know, has really like impacted you and been like, okay, this is like, I gotta take this serious now. I gotta like level up now.
I think once I started doing those recorded sets on YouTube, like those big ones, like there's Elevator Music in Chicago,
Good one.
There's Heads World in LA, like I really started taking those extremely seriously because I would tell myself like, you never know who is going to be watching this.
No, literally.
And that's how me and like Zach Fox became close, because he saw my Elevator Music set just like randomly. I'm like, oh my God, like you saw this? Like what? And like I did not prepare as well that day as I should have. Like looking back, like it was a good set, but I wish I prepared just a little bit more because I'm like, whoa, Zach Fox saw it, like that's crazy. So just like always being like super intentional now about like, it doesn't matter what kind of gig, recorded set, like I never know who's watching. So I always want to like bet on like somebody that's going to change my life is watching this.
Yeah.
And that's happened a couple times.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's so fascinating to see because like all the different sets I've done in the past, like someone will come out of like somewhere random and mention like some set from like 3 years ago that I wasn't thinking about, don't even remember even doing, was sweaty, like literally, you know what I mean? And I'll be like, that's what you gravitated to. That's like, they're like, yeah, like I wanted to bring you here because like I saw like your bounce mix from like 10 years ago. Like, girl, I don't remember that mix. But
but they do.
They do.
It sticks with them.
It touches them in a way. It's always a nice reminder to it's always nice to have a reminder in a different ways that what we're doing, even if we're like thinking about so many other things doing it, the ways that it really and truly impacts people. And it always takes one person.
Only
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always want to like impress that upon DJs or just anyone who's working in nightlife or just as an artist. I know the pressure is always to get like the biggest crowd ever, which can always be fun and exciting. But you know, even if you've got like 50 people watching, 3 people watching, it only takes one person.
It only takes one
to like truly like see you, feel something from that set that you played, and want to do something about it.
Yeah.
So
no, literally.
I definitely understand.
Yeah.
And like, of course, doing like recorded sets and things like that, I love to learn a little bit more about how you go about putting a set together. Like when you, even big ones, small, big ones, small ones, anyone. Clubs, recorded, like when you know you have a set coming up, you want to really like go crazy, you really want to just bring something special. What's kind of like your workflow for that?
Yeah, so I guess it really depends on the set, but a lot of the times if I have like a really big set coming up, I'll just be listening to a lot of music and be okay, like what's my first song? Like, let me just think, like what's the first song gonna be? And then it'll just like hit me like a random song. I'm like, okay, this is my first track. And once I get that first track, everything else is like a little easier for me.
Yeah.
And I'll just like practice. I'll save things in a playlist. I love saving history and just re-looking at that again. I practice a lot at home, and now when I practice, I actually live stream on Twitch when I practice, which is just fun because I get to live stream on Twitch and I get to practice. And yeah, so for a lot of like big things, it'll be like I'll try to do like get like the first 5 to 10 songs in, and then I'll just leave the rest to like freestyle whatever I want. But I'll make sure that I'm practicing and I know the music on my USB because I like to really read the crowd and see like where they're at, and then I'll pivot from there. But when they're like recorded sets, like the Heads World one, I practiced every single song, every single one, because I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted it to be beautiful, and I think that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I think there's always like a debate. I feel like between like planning sets and not, and like I feel like people are like, you're not a real DJ if you plan your sets. Like, just shut up. Like, stop.
Honestly, I think everyone's sort of like different. For me personally, when I got started, say maybe like the first 2 years, like every set I did, like beginning to end.
Me too. That's a good way to learn.
Honestly,
there's nothing wrong with that.
And obviously, you're gonna have to do all the practice. You get to learn how songs work with each other, all the blends, all the different transitions you want to do. Over time, when I got booked a lot more and was getting a lot busier, I'd probably get. I mean, you're better than me. You're talking about the first 5 to 10 songs. I got like the first 2, and then after that, it's between me and God.
Hell yeah,
like,
I love that.
But every time I ask a DJ that question, they always answer differently. I think it's fascinating to think about the different ways that you can move through a set. And a lot of the times DJs are like, oh yeah, I'm winging it too. But for the most part, when I talk to like younger DJs, I'm like, it's okay if you've got like that whole set planned out. Over time, you will learn to trust yourself and your instincts and what you know how to do, what you like to do.
Nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, I never tap in. There's so much DJ discourse. I never
so much DJ discourse.
I'm like for this, you know, for this genuinely being a type of art, type of craft where you're just supposed to be playing music. There's a lot of talking about. There's a lot of talking happening about DJing, and I might hear about a lot of it coming down the grapevine, but that in particular, I think when it comes to technique and style, I'm like, I tune out because it's like all the discourse we could have, and at the end of the day, it's like who you are and what's most important to you.
You're not a real DJ if whenever I see those 5 words, I'm not looking at the rest of it.
You're not talking to me. You're not talking to me.
Stop, like,
you know what I mean? It's definitely interesting. I'd love to talk a little bit more about your DJing and learn a little bit more about how you got started DJing.
Yes.
Did you get started in Chicago? Or
yes. I got started in Chicago, again, like club rat, so I was always going out. Didn't hear our music being played a lot, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try. So I got like a little mini like board. I was on Record Box. I struggled so much in the beginning. I don't know why. It was just like hard for me to click. Also, I wanted to only learn how to DJ with music. I wanted to learn how to DJ. Like learn.
So you were doing like practice tracks or like practice,
Right, instead of just being like, okay, let me step outside a little bit and like actually try to learn it the way people say to learn it, which is usually with house music. People say, you know, if you can blend 2 house tracks together, like just keep practicing, that's how you're gonna learn, instead of just like, I see this all the time, and people just want to go straight into hip hop or reggaeton, which is great, it's fine, but like this hard to learn at first. Like hip hop is hard, like it never has the right kind of intros to help you learn, or like EQing can be hard. Like, so it's just like I had to go back to the basics, and then when I went back to the basics and I was learning, I hit like a learning curve where it just like clicked for me. And then I started getting really good, and I was getting good exponentially fast. I was like, wait, I'm kind of good at this. And my manager at the time, he's no longer my manager, he helped me get my first gig at like a blind barber. Do you guys have blind barber in Texas? I don't know if that's a thing.
Oh my God, if we do, I don't know about it.
Okay, it's a spot like in LA, New York, Chicago, on a Wednesday, and it filled up like crazy with a bunch of Arabs who were super excited to hear me play. I started off with like a lot of like a piano, house music, like slower stuff. Just trying to like find my sound. A lot of auto music, of course. Like just trying to find where I fit in, and people loved it. They went crazy about it. And so I just like kept slowly like building from there, and then really finding my sound. It took me like about like 8 months to a year to really like hone in on my sound and what I really, really loved like playing. But I don't know, I think I went on a tangent.
No, I love that. I love that. What was it like on the other side of that first set, knowing that, you know, so many so many Arabs came to see
Yeah.
you, so many people that, you know, in your community that you love, and being able to express yourself in that way, in a way that you've always wanted to. What was it like on the other side of that set?
It was a lot of like imposter syndrome at first.
Fair.
And like a lot of like, oh my God, like people used to be like, well, I've been praying for you. I've been praying for an Arab DJ, let alone a woman in Chicago. Like, thank God. It was a lot of pressure. And honestly, that was why I had a little bit of delay in finding my true sound, because there was a lot of pressure from these communities to constantly just put out Arabic music all the time, which is great. I love my people's music, but I was trying to like see where I fit in like the club scene. I was playing other things, and like I have a lot of interest in music. I can go super techno, I can go super club, I can go super melodic house. Like I have a lot of different interests. So I was really trying to find myself, and during that period would be a lot of, you know, those same Arab coming up to me and holding up their phone. When are you gonna play Arab music? I'm like, can you give me a second? Like, I love y'all, but can y'all give me a second? Like, so there was a lot of good and a lot of struggle. And I think now, though, I've really found my sound, and I found the people who appreciate it, including Arab, who are like, whoa, actually, wait, I like that house track, or I like that techno. What is that?
Yeah.
Like, so it's worked out for me, like, super well.
Yeah, I love that. So when you were like moving through finding your own sound, you're just playing anything that you love, or just seriously just wanted to hear. So like, obviously we've got like ghetto house, ghetto tech, and like, you know, sounds native to Chicago, juke, house music and stuff like that. I wonder, I mean, you kind of touched on it even a little bit now, you know, when you were playing those sort of sounds for like an Arab crowd, did you find like a lot of times there was like pushback, or just like a reluctance to even like engage with it? Or for like, you know, was it a matter of like, you know, we want to hear this too, you know, we might be native to the Midwest or Chicago too, but it's like there's just so much importance on like having that representation right now. I want to hear something I know.
I think it was both. Obviously, like, people are not like, you know, one thing. It was definitely both, but not too much pushback, just a little bit more of like confusion. Like innocent confusion. And I think that that's fine. And I will, like, the times that I would play heavy like ghetto house and juke was when I was booked for ghetto house and juke parties. And so doing that more, I realized like, wait, no, this is more of like what I really like. And so yeah, a little bit of pushback here and there, but just innocent confusion. I wouldn't say like flat out rude or whatever. Rejection. Just like, oh, like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna wait for a song I know. I'm like, okay. And what I've realized too is that like what I try to tell people when they're like, oh, no one dances, like people are shy. I've realized people are really shy to dance, and especially in the Arab world, there's a lot of like stigma between, you know, getting down and dancing with each other and getting, you know, dirty on the dance floor. There's a lot of stigma with that. A lot of people like, they don't want to be looked at a certain way by other people, especially like, you know, they got their family in the burbs. They don't want to see them online. So that was a lot of what I got, was that the Arab were kind of like on the side waiting for their song so they could fist pump, not to like get actually dirty and dancing in the middle. But that changed over time.
Literally my
that changed over time. They're like, fuck it, whatever, let's go.
Absolutely. And that's like such a joy to see, because it's like, I mean, again, you know, having an African background, I'm Nigerian, you know, that it's kind of like hearing you talk about that, I'm like, oh, it's kind of similar too, because like when I'm in those communities, there's definitely sort of like a different societal pressure to appear a certain way and not really like engage, which obviously I would say the younger generation is starting to shake off. Like, I'm only 32, so over time I've seen the kids as they get younger start experimenting with like different electronic sounds, but also the way they dance and respond to it on the dance floor is so different. There's like always a pressure to be proper, because you don't want the aunties back home to see like what you're doing or how you're getting down and the stuff you're listening to. And in some ways, the older generation would like outright reject it because they don't understand the music. So I'm sure it's just like been such an exciting experience for you to see that gradually change for like people who look like you and who connect to you in that way.
Being more open to dancing and just letting go of whatever shame people have with dancing. Like, just let it all go.
It's definitely important for like these communities too. Like, I'm sure, I think, you know, because I was born and raised here in Houston, but obviously really close to the Nigerian community. I always see like a huge difference between like Nigerian kids born and raised in Nigeria versus the ones who are born and raised here. Obviously, being first generation, a lot of American sensibilities. The way we think about and approach music, and even the stuff we'll play, will be so different. So there's like almost a sort of like a a shame barrier. I think for
Yeah.
the kids back home, like, I don't know what this is. I don't understand it. And
Yeah.
I don't want to look weird dancing.
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
So I always wonder when, you know, folks outside looking in, it's like seeing, you know, like a Nigerian kid go crazy to like some juke or some club music, which I've definitely had like Nigerian kids based here come up to me and be like, hey, like this is so crazy. I never
Really?
thought I'd see one of us playing this stuff.
my
And it's
God.
like, I'm like, yeah, did you like it? How'd you make you feel? Like, what did it make you want to do? You know?
Yeah.
Being able to see them be free in that way that they wouldn't necessarily be is like so touching.
I love that. Yeah,
and being
it
like a
is.
soundtrack to that is like so.
Yes.
It makes me feel very purposeful.
Yes, I love
so
that.
I love hearing, you know, you talk about that, because I
Yeah.
think for a lot of folks, it's like, oh yeah, this is normal. It's normal to twerk and go crazy and climb the speakers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're at a regular day Nigerian party in Nigeria or like at the event halls up the street, they're not doing that. They're standing around. They're
Yeah.
looking around. So
Yeah, same.
I love that. You know, I love that.
Yeah,
it's
same.
definitely it's such a huge impact, I think. And tell me a little bit more about after that first gig, you getting into DJing. Were you just like opening yourself up to like all different types of opportunities, or did you already know like I'm gonna play these types of parties, I'm gonna play more juke, I'm gonna play more house, I'm gonna stay right here, you know, that sort of thing?
So I played the game for sure. I would go to like a bunch of other global parties that I wanted to be booked at.
Period.
And I would just get super friendly with the DJs. And like our industry is transactional. Like if we just get over that hump of like the truth, I feel like things will be more natural. Like, yeah, I'm coming to your party. I'm supporting you in hopes that you book me one day.
It's real as fuck.
I'm showing my face. A lot of our job is showing face. So I will just go to a lot of parties, and I'm very confident and very confrontational. So I would just flat out say like, hey, like, I really want to play your party.
Honestly, that's real as hell. Like, and so
Yeah.
many people, you know, do it too. I think there's definitely nothing wrong with making that cold
Nothing.
pitch. Like,
Closed mouths don't get fed.
real.
I tell newer DJs that all the time. They're like, how do you do it? I'm like, just ask.
Yeah.
Just ask me. You want to play? Ask me. I might tell you no, but I might tell you yes.
I mean, listen, you're gonna get that listen though. I'm going through the SoundCloud. I'm going through.
Yes,
like,
I'll
you know,
go
I'm
through your
listening.
stuff,
I'm
yeah.
gonna listen. I think it's so important, especially like there's just so much happening in the scene, like so many different DJs, types, and styles. You know, like that. Like you do have to do that work to not get
Yeah.
lost in the crowd so much.
Yeah.
And so much of that is taste and style, obviously. But like you said, younger DJs coming into the game, like there's definitely like you do need to be proactive.
Yeah.
And at least be able to engage with your community,
Yeah.
support, see what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like maybe even in the beginning, so much of that for you is just like I want to hear about all the different scenes, all the different global parties, like what's actually getting played on the floor and what
Yeah,
people are
exactly,
listening to. engaging with.
exactly.
You do have to go outside for
You
that.
have to,
You have to go-
100%.
You must go
The
outside.
Shazam is open.
What?
I'm always like the one taking my phone and zooming in on the
You're
decks
so
to get the track ID. I'm that girl.
Listen, and the girls will act like they don't do that. I've seen it myself. I've seen it myself, you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, and I tell younger DJs this too, you know, like if you want to play with the girls are playing, we're all on Bandcamp, we're all on SoundCloud,
Yeah.
but you do have to make it your own. You
Yeah.
absolutely have to make it your own. You know, I can hear the same edit get played on 3 different dance floors on one night, but if they're all mixed in just a way that I've never heard
Yes.
before, I will like never complain.
Exactly.
You know what
I
mean?
agree, 100%.
The game is so different now, I
It
think.
is.
Even from like when I got started, there was like such, I think, a pressure to obviously do things organically, but like not be seen wanting, not
Yeah.
be seen like wanting to play, get more exposure, go to more parties and stuff like that, versus now where I think I see especially so many younger DJs be a lot more forward with what they want to do and where they want to go when they get started.
Yeah.
So definitely.
I like that. I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
I'm
I love
all
that.
for it.
Tell me a little bit about like, so when you're going out there, you're going to the parties, you're going to the different like global dance music parties in Chicago. Tell me a little bit more about what the scene was like at the time when you were just coming into your own as a DJ. Like, what was it like to go out on a typical night in Chicago, like the underground scene?
So I feel like a couple years ago, like a little bit post-COVID, was definitely more like it was global dance music being pushed. A lot of like Amapiano, Afro beats, which I love. That was like basically like that was what was popping in Chicago at the time, and there were only a couple DJs who were doing the juke and ghetto house parties. I will shout out Constantine because he's amazing, and he was doing it for a long time. And then I feel like, I don't know at what point, I think when DJing became more accessible and people started to learn more about ghetto house and juke music and stuff like that, now everybody's doing a juke ghetto house party, which like everybody can have their takes on it, you know, whether you like that or not. But I feel like that is what is really popping more now in Chicago, is those types of things instead of not instead of the global parties, but I see people going to those kinds of parties more now. The juke and ghetto house in Midwest and techno in Detroit. I'm even like in the past year, I'm seeing people put ghetto tech on flyers. I didn't see that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I didn't see
different
that
now.
shit a long time ago.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy, honestly. I don't even know if I answered the question.
No, you absolutely did. I mean, for me, I'm so curious because I've talked to like other DJs and artists, we'll say just for Chicago even, and they've said the same thing where it's like, even though these sounds originated from Chicago, were pioneered and you know, come from Chicago, shared from Chicago, you go to the city and it can, at a time, especially in the past, it can be kind of difficult to find a dance floor that was dedicated to these sounds. I mean, obviously house music being very important, but when we talk about, or very popular in Chicago, it's birthplace literally, but if we talk about like, I don't want to say like lesser known sounds or genres because I wouldn't consider juke or footwork lesser known, but definitely, you know, the average person who might even love house music might not even know about juke. And it's like you would have to go to like certain parties, find certain dance floors to even hear footwork on the floor.
Exactly.
I think that's like so fascinating. What do you, I mean, now that like you said, so much is changing in Chicago where there's, in the Midwest in general, there's so many different parties that are dedicated to this music. What would you like to see as like we get more of these dance floors, more of these spaces dedicated to ghetto house, house juke, footwork? What would you want these spaces to, I guess, what do you want people who are going to these parties to better understand about this music and this culture?
I want them to put money into the pockets of the OGs. That's what I want.
Period.
Because a lot of the OGs in Chicago, they need to get paid more. They need to get paid more because they have influenced everything we've done, and that's what I actually really appreciate about the internet and virality and all that stuff going viral on TikTok is that people, you know, see a younger, pretty DJ putting a juke track out, and they're like, what is this genre? And then hopefully they look into it more and see that it's been around for a long time, and it's some OGs, some really amazing people from Chicago that have pioneered this genre, and that they deserve credit just as much as the cute, pretty DJ you saw on TikTok who made it viral because she's cute and pretty.
You're very real for that. You're very real for that. I think about that all the time. I would absolutely say the same. Someone who obviously, same as anyone, learned about juke, footwork. I won't say like house and ghetto house, but definitely like these sounds. I learned a lot about so many of these sounds from the internet. I think there's something to be said about when, again, you've got the cute, pretty DJ playing the stuff going viral, and these pioneers, these people that have worked so hard to bring this music outside of Chicago are barely, you know, getting booked. People barely talking about them. I mean, we had the pleasure of having like a friend and I had a pleasure of bringing DJ Sluggo last year.
Yes,
Houston,
my uncle.
Amazing. Literally an OG. I was like, you're really an OG. Like, you're old school. Like, the way he talks, the way he does business.
The way he does business.
It's fascinating.
Yes, I respect him.
No, literally. I feel like I learned so much even in that interaction. And, you know, he'll send an email, be like 5 words. He got the contract.
Yes. I love the way Sluggo does business.
I love that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, this guy, he's not, you know, he's the same age as my dad. Like, this wasn't even that far ago. And the way that he is, like, obviously just sharpened his business acumen. But also when you bring him and he plays for the crowd, I can't speak for everyone, but I know people are out there thinking, like, what's he gonna do? Like, and the way he DJs, his style, like, obviously having all of that experience and being a literal pioneer of these genres is so different.
And playing mostly his records.
Literally.
Like, what a dream.
Like, it's beautiful to be able to support someone who is responsible for this music that I love, but also learn so much from him in that moment. Because I'm in there like, what is this track? And only he has it. It's only on this one USB.
Yes.
So only time you're ever gonna hear it in like 320, you know, like high Q. And I'm like, I'm never gonna hear the song ever again.
Yes. But that crispy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can try to rip it online, but it's never gonna sound that crispy.
Absolutely. He like got that out of his like Ableton, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm literally trying to find it on YouTube. I need to hear the song.
I swear.
Again. I think it's so important, you know what I mean, as obviously this music becomes more central, more important to the club scene. I think it's more important than ever that we go back and continue to highlight and platform the people, pioneers that are responsible for making this music. I think it's so easy to get lost, especially over time, but also within context. I think a lot of times if you are finding a lot of this music online via TikTok or just Instagram, something viral, I see even in a lot of the audience, they're not always going back and doing the work to research this music and understand like the communities the individuals who are very central to making this music and sharing it with folks. I would really love to see that more from people too, because it's like a lot of the times as I'm playing this stuff out to different crowds and things like that, me not being from Chicago, still loving this music anyway, I'm like, I want to do my due diligence where someone comes up, and another Houstonian, like a kid born and raised here, never heard it before.
Yeah.
They ask me, what is this? I want to be able to say, like, this is, you know, Chicago Juke, A, B, C, and D. This is where you listen to it. This is who the artist is.
I want to have a QR code. Scan this
honestly,
QR code.
Like, y'all looking at my desk. Y'all need to be, like, getting into it. You know what I mean? In a similar vein, you know, as you continue to share this music worldwide, you take the sounds in the Midwest to more and more communities and things like that. What do you want people to really understand about this music as they're taking it in? Not just like, you know, as they get past like the newness or the novelty of it, what do you want them to truly understand about like these sounds that come from this city that you love so much?
I want people to know that whilst doing that, like, our struggles are super intertwined. Like, in Detroit, because obviously I'm from Detroit, like, techno music came from, you know, working class Detroiters who were working in Motor City and, you know, in the factories and playing with sounds and music while they were working and being like, whoa, this sounds cool, what is this? And then same thing in the Middle East, we do the same thing. It's the working class who are making the music and supplying it and supplying the energy. And both of us want to be represented in a certain way, obviously Detroit, Chicago. So I want people to be able to like understand how all of us musically, sonically are intertwined. And when we're on the dance floor to like find that with each other. And remember that music connects us more than it disconnects us. Even if the music sounds like sonically so different, it actually connects us more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I want people to know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, especially with a lot of like ghetto house, juke tech, and things like that, when people start experimenting, I think because it's so accessible or more accessible now, there's just like this huge propensity to start experimenting with it and really trying to find ways to take this music and not only familiarize it to yourself, but also to your audience. I think obviously there's so much benefit in that, because like you said, the more we do that, the more we understand how we are like completely linked. And a lot of the times it is these working class, marginalized communities that are making this music and sharing it. What would you say to anyone who's heard like maybe your set or online or anywhere else they heard like a juke footwork sound for the first time, or you know, techno for the first time, and they really want to explore, like what tips would you give to them to like continue exposing themselves to that music and really opening their tastes, their sensibilities? Like
SoundCloud is great.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is great. I think that when discovering music, we should go to the places that actually support the artists. Like I say, like, I hate streaming. I hate Spotify. I hate Apple. I feel like go to Bandcamp and try your hardest to really support the producers who make the music, because DJing is cool. It's great. But we wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for the producers.
Absolutely.
So that's why I was talking about how it's such a different craft. And I have a lot of respect for these amazing producers. So like, get to know your music more intimately is a tip that I wish that I, you know, took into account when I was first DJing. Because when I was first DJing and loading stuff in my USB, I was not putting the metadata in. I was not putting in the artist where I got it. And I'd be like, wait, I love this record, but like, whose record is this?
No, for sure.
So, and then I ended up having like way too much music on my USB that I had no idea what was. So I think my biggest tip now, and something that I've been doing myself, just being more intimate with the music that you download and you want to play out. And if somebody was to ask you about a track, can you talk about it? Because if you can't, you look a little crazy.
No, literally.
That's what happened to me. People ask like, what is this track? And I'd be like,
Babe, I don't
what
even
genre is this? I'd be like, and it just doesn't make us, I don't know, it didn't make me feel good. It made me feel like, no, girl, you have a responsibility to, you know, put these producers out there. Like, that's what DJs do. They push music.
Oh, my
God.
God.
And so what good is it if I don't know where the music comes from?
Absolutely.
And then the crowd doesn't even know where it's from. So it's like, I've been taking more of a responsibility as a DJ lately, like after the first few months of doing it, and I want other people to do that as well. I think it's important.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I 1000% agree with you. I think as DJs, we do, like you said, have a responsibility to be able to talk intimately about the music that we're playing. Otherwise, I think there's almost like for lack of a better word, almost like a fakeness to you even putting it out if you're not able.
Disconnect.
Like, I mean, and I know, like, again, DJ Discourse, I know how people feel about, like, track IDs, but I'm so good for, like, if everyone's like, what is this? Like, girl, take the picture.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I don't gatekeep.
Or I'll get back to you later about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's important, I think, as DJs to be tastemakers and to be very comfortable with sharing music.
Yes.
And introducing people to new music. I feel like, you know, again, Discourse, that's one of the things I feel a lot of times that's missing. Especially when I, you know, playing out here in Houston and I talk to a lot of like newer upcoming DJs. And I'm always like, yeah, you got to be willing to like a better term, scare the hoes a little bit. Like, be willing to go out on the dance floor and play something that is going to be a little weird or strange or like off-putting, and take that risk of like actually opening up people up to something.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Even seeing like the difference in Houston and night and day from when I started versus now, like I do see people being more willing and more accepting to hear something they've never heard before when they go outside. Whereas it's like in general, Houston having a very big and different type of club culture. I think people are mostly used to when they go out hearing their Spotify playlist like played back to them.
Right.
So you get on like one of our dance floors, especially in the underground, and you're hearing like, you know, Shook and, you know, Baye Funk and like maybe even something you never heard before, but definitely something you did not expect to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you are like willing to do this for the long haul, and really like stake your claim, build your own style, you have to be willing to play the weird music. Weird to others, obviously, not to us.
Yeah.
Because I feel just in general, DJs, again, just you should be introducing people to new music.
Yes.
Any and every chance because you should be introducing yourself to new music.
Exactly.
I feel like as a DJ, I am like constantly listening to stuff. And I am the Shazam girl in Target. Like if I hear something randomly, I'm at the gas station, someone's passing in their car, I'm like, girl, what is that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, I'm busting it out. Like I am constantly
consuming it
and taking it in and like trying to learn more and also become even more intimate with the genres that I already want to play, club, juke, and get a house. And like if someone's asked me about this music, where does it come from? Like I'm gonna be able to tell you and get you started on that journey of experimenting and finding it for yourself. I feel like every DJ that I love is a tastemaker in that way, definitely a selector in that way, someone who is willing to go to search and dig long and hard, but also be willing to play the most obscure stuff.
Yes, I love
and
that.
find a way to make it appeal to as many different sensibilities and tastes as possible.
Hell yeah.
So I love that, absolutely.
Yes.
I did have one more question, and maybe we can open to Q&A. We'll figure it out. So for my final question, it's like, you know, you've got like the last 2-3 years under your belt in these scenes, growing as a DJ and an artist and a performer. What do you see for yourself in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
So this is something that is actually a little harder, but since I'm self-managed, self-represented, I don't have anybody doing anything for me. Getting like the big festival bookings has been like pretty hard for me.
Yeah.
It has to be like usually like a friend of a friend who got a stage somewhere, and then I'll get it. But that's been really hard for me, so I'm hoping like I'll be able to network more and be more on my P's and Q's and hopefully get, you know, bigger festival bookings so I can just spread the Midwest Arab message to the world.
The Midwest agenda.
And I haven't really told a lot of people this, but I have a big tour coming in July that's not in North America, so I'm really, really excited for that.
Congratulations.
I did that all by myself, so I'm hoping that that's super successful in and of itself and like just sets me off from there. Because I love super intimate settings, but also I do love a big fucking festival.
Yeah.
I like to reach like as many people as I can. Although like I'm like, even though I might not be able to tell, I'm super socially awkward sometimes. I don't like to be perceived.
You're
lying.
lying.
So it's like I want to like play out to like thousands of people, but I don't want them to look at me.
Real.
Like I want to be in like a corner somewhere.
I want to be Rapunzel to it. Like
Yeah.
I want a wall of fog, and I want to be in my little tower. And you gotta like wring my hair to
or
like
like
come up
wear
there.
a wig or something. Like Hannah Montana had something going. Like she was right.
Listen, Daft Punk, Marshmallow in them with the like the had something, you know.
Oh, that was a good
I
idea.
definitely understand, because it's like for me, I don't know. This is like so old school to me, but I could be fine with like never being seen, you know what I mean?
Me too.
When I got started, I started playing in like warehouse and stuff like that, so super fogged out spaces, couldn't see in front of your hand.
Yeah.
And I think it made me a very daring DJ because I don't have to look at anyone's faces. It's a disappointment.
There's no pressure. There's no phones. Play this. I'm like,
like,
Right.
bro, like,
Oh my God, with the big font.
Oh
Like,
my
you couldn't
God.
see anything. There'd be no big font on the phones. There's nothing. It's just you and whatever you can hear on the other side of the fog. So I definitely
love those
understand
types
that.
of gigs. Those are the
No,
best gigs
best
usually.
kind.
Because you can just put your headphones, lock in, and not worry about what somebody. Because I've talked about this before. This is just a random rant. But I feel like sometimes, like with like boiler room style DJing, where everybody's around you, or like if there's a camera in front of you, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be a performer more so than like being a DJ. And a lot of times, like I said, I don't plan every single set. Sometimes a lot of times I don't plan anything when I'm like going back and forth. So sometimes I want to just put my headphones on and mix and not think about like the drop, or like if they're going crazy doing a dance circle here, or me jumping up and down. Like I want to just mix. And I feel like with the boiler room style DJing, so that's it's just hard. Like,
no, I
you have to
definitely
perform. Like you have to sacrifice some of that mixing for that. I feel like.
Absolutely. I mean, anyone can tell you, anyone's familiar with me, I do not look up during sets. I
Me neither.
Like, I'm not.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? I'm not fist pumping. I'm not even smiling at you. I actually look a little like insane and scary. But that's because I am literally focusing everything. I'm putting all
On
I
the
got
music.
into the set.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. I think sometimes there can be a pressure to really engage with the crowd that, in a sense, where it's like you're performing on top of a performance.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like most of the time, again, the DJs I love that I grew up with and really grew up studying were selectors at their craft and very interested in just like the experience itself and anything else that people were getting out of watching or interacting with them. I mean, definitely, you know, scenes change, the game has changed, the industry has changed, and a lot of times we do see the shift into more like open style, open dance floor type.
Yes.
But for me personally, like I will always take an intimate room where I'm able to get a little space. People are able to get a, like I love when I'm DJing and people put their back to me and do that little dance circle thing. I love that. It's like you forgot I'm even there. You're so engaged with each other.
That's the point. I feel like.
And like the music, you're willing to like not to put your back to me and just like completely focus on what you came to do, and that's going to be more important and impactful to me than like any sort of. I love that you said that, because I feel like it's almost taboo in its way to say that to other DJs, so I think a lot of us kind of feel now it's like you got to just fall into it. But no, I will always prefer like you do your thing, you do what you came to do.
Please don't stare at me, please.
And
don't stare at me.
like don't stare at me. I mean, I don't know if we have a chance to open up to Q&A. I think is that okay? Simon, Jackson, anybody? Yeah? Okay, perfect. I don't think we have like a. Okay, maybe like maybe 2 or 3 questions from the crowd. We don't have any mics. I'm sorry, but.
How do you feel about like the worldwide Latina belt? I feel like us like in our airport connections, like some of like music and like.
Wait, what is it? What is it?
Maybe repeat the question too. Worldwide like Latina belt. I don't know if like Latinos and like Arabs we have like a lot of similarities.
Yeah. There's actually a party in Chicago called Baila Habibi, and it's solely a mix of Latin music and Arab music. And honestly, in the summer, those are my favorite types of parties to play, because I can play more like the classic, slower Arab music, and they mix so well with Latin music. So I love doing that. I need to be booked more for that.
Absolutely.
Please. Yeah, okay, bet.
Yeah, maybe time for one more question before we wrap. Anybody else?
No pressure. Please.
We've been yapping it up. Everyone's like, I have nothing else to say.
I
like,
swear.
I have nothing else. Well, in that case, then I think we can wrap things up here. Can we get an applause for Nanoos, guys?
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of you for making time to come hear us talk. I also want to thank our organizers and send a special thank to Break and Enter and Ice House Radio for putting this together. For more events like this one, please follow Break and Enter and Ice House Radio online. And please join Break and Enter tonight at Boomstocks to see Nanoos live.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Everyone. Absolutely.
You're a great moderator. You're amazing.
Do you want to play Nanoos one of your cuts?
Yeah. A little music while people mingle. We'll transition out. Yeah. No pressure.
Can we give a big round of applause for HYPERFEMME too? Come on, y'all. Thank you so much, Nanoos. Thank you, HYPERFEMME. These are the kind of things that we love going forward. These educational, pedagogical moments, so we get to really learn more about the people that we love. So thank you everyone for coming out, and don't forget to tell everybody about tonight. Word. Have a good night, y'all.